Hey, how's it going? I wanted to post up a new video today and cover supplies and not necessarily what you have to have, but sort of the potential of what you could have. I only use probably about 20% of this stuff on any kind of regular basis, but I mean, this would be all stuff that if I was going to go maybe to like a comic convention, I might bring with me just in case. This would cover all the bases. So here, I'm going to pull in tight and I'll kind of go from left to right, show you what I got. Alright, so first thing I have is I have about an 18-inch ruler. One thing that I did on the back of it was I taped down pennies. That helps if you need to use any kind of an inking tool. It won't smear when you throw down the line. I'd get a metal ruler. There are wood rulers, but obviously if it gets dinged up or something like that, you're not going to get real straight lines. Same thing, like this might actually even be an inking triangle, but same deal. I just tape some pennies to the bottom of it just to lift it up a little bit. It helps. Some straight edge tools will be a little sharp or kind of jaggedy, and you could take maybe like a really fine sandpaper and sort of rub it down to get it like extra smooth. And that'll help, like if you want to like do speed lines. And I would use Crow Quill for that, and I'll cover that in a minute. Okay, so erasers. My main eraser that I use, honestly, is just this one. I will use the electric eraser. These are probably like 20 bucks. I'm not really sure. And there's two different kinds of tips. There's a white one and a blue one. The blue is supposedly for ink. The white one, I guess, would be for pencil. I've used the blue one, but the white one works good. As long as you have batteries in it, it should pull up, any kind of pencil you would lay down, and then also it'll pull up some ink. Not all ink, but you can remove a little bit with it. This is a Japanese eraser I got. They smell like peppermint. It's a real good. It's like almost like a plastic eraser, but I love them. I think they're great. You might be able to find that like in any kind of local like Japanese market. Kneaded rubber, I don't use that very much. I've been using them a little more as I've been penciling to pull up like excess sort of just pencil lead leftovers. These are okay. It's decent for like fine, like if you have something tiny and you want to kind of pick it out, an eyebrow or something that's a little more delicate. I definitely have an X-Acto knife around. I use it for like cutting tape, or it's like a handy tool to have. I also use it for cutting boards down, like if I want to do 8.5 by 11 as opposed to 11 by 17. Okay, so let's see here. I use an inkwell. I always have put my ink in like something like this. This is an old like salt and pepper thing that you would put on like a dinner table. So I fill it up with ink and just let it kind of sit during the day. Okay, brush. The main brush I use is these Raphael number 3 brushes. It's a good brush, not great. I prefer Winsor Newton. But they're a little trickier to find. I mean, with brushes, you can definitely get a bad brush. So when you're more inexperienced, I think sometimes, you'll blame yourself. But there are definitely bad brushes, and even bad Crow Quill nibs, which are these Hunt 102s I'll show you in a second. This is a Kuretake brush pen. It is, I think, a nylon tip. These are pretty cool, and you can fill them with ink. They're clean. You can clean them, and they last a pretty long time. I'm still on the first brush tip. I've had it for probably like 4 months. Alright, so then Hunt 102. These are the little brown pen holders. This is what they look like when you buy them. And there's two versions. One is what they, I guess, would call a female, which is the whole one, and then there's a male. You want these for the 102, or it won't like fit in there. I did put one of these little hand things on it. This Crow Quill, honestly, not the pen tip itself, but I've used this thing for probably 2 or 3 years. So, it's a pretty cheap investment in terms of a tool that'll last, and, okay, so these are the pen nibs that I use when I use a Crow Quill. Hunt 102 by Speedball. They're pretty expensive. I'd say it's like 10 or 20 bucks for a box of them. You'll get, I think, 12 in it. And again, not all of them will work great. And I've had full boxes that suck. So, you know, it's kind of part of the risk. Toothbrush for splatter. I don't use splatter a lot, but, you know, if you have two old toothbrushes, use one for white paint and then one for black. Then you don't have to clean it or worry about like your white being kind of gray if your brush isn't fully clean. These are my main tools. Okay, like if I'm drawing on my own, these two pens right here, the pink one and the blue one, are probably my main two. The blue one is a 6-0. The pink one is a 4-0. They're by Koh-i-Noor. Rapidograph. On the tip of the pen, you can see the size. And sorry, I'm trying to balance the camera. Do that. And then the gray one is I would consider it like a medium-sized line. It's probably about the thickness of a pencil lead, maybe a little thicker. And then the red one is like a pretty good panel border one. You definitely want artist tape. I wouldn't get the super thin one. This looks like it's about a 1/2 inch. Real good tape. You know, you can use that for if you're doing like layovers on something, like corrections with tracing paper. I would definitely get a pad of vellum. I use it to adjust figures and arms and things that I draw that maybe I don't like, but I don't want to take out a whole figure, so you can tape it down with that. Ink. My main ink is Ultra Draw, the one on the right. That is probably $2 or $3 for one of those little bottles, and it'll last you, you know, a few weeks if you're inking a lot, maybe a week. Depends on how much black there is, obviously. Pro White. Let's try to get the name of the company looks to be Daler Rowney. There's a little bit of paint on it. The Pelican bottle I actually just used to kind of put old ink in. I did used to use this Pelican, and this is a Touche A. It's called TUSCHEA. Black ink. It's a good ink. I like it. I don't blend inks, but inevitably, if I had brand new bottles of Pelican and I was using the Ultra Draw, they would get mixed up, you know, as I would save the old ink from the day. So again, I put my ink during the day in one of these things, which is just a little glass cup, and then when I'm done at the end of the day, I'll suck it up into this as storage. But this is what I'm putting in, and if the ink is too thick, I will add a little tiny bit of water to sort of dilute it if it feels like it's going to be a problem. Generally it's too thin, so it's actually kind of nice as the ink gets older. It tends to be more black and also a little thicker. Okay, so pencils. My main pencil is this. This is what I use, which is just a drafting pencil. Right now I'd say I'm leaning between H and 2H lead. You don't want to get too hard of a lead because like for shading and stuff like that, it can be difficult to shade with, you know, 4H or 6H. So 2H is a good start. H is great. HB, you're starting to get into softer leads, and then I prefer the Sanford turquoise lead. I'm trying to think what the other brand is. There's a white one. Maybe it's Beryl, or is this Beryl? I don't like the other brand as much. It seems a little softer. If I want soft lead, you know, I mean, obviously I'll buy that, but I don't like a 2H that acts more like a HB. You know, a lot of people actually like the Click pencils. I've used it a little bit, and I kind of like it. And then, you know, regular pencils are awesome. I actually, at one point, thought I was only going to use regular pencils, but I seem to have sort of drifted back to the mechanical pencil. But, you know, whatever you're most comfortable with, use. And so you definitely want to have, like, a rag on your table. I keep paper towels and, like, a cleaner in case, you know, I need to clean up my desk. If you're penciling, you may want to have your desk at like a 45-degree angle, or not 45, but you know, lift it up. Don't draw totally flat. Then the other thing that I have is I have my sort of like Warzone. Usually, you know, it's not even a bad idea to have 2 cups of water, one for white and one for black. I tend to not make a lot of mistakes when I'm working, so generally during the day, one for black ink is plenty, and then like I had just finished a piece last night, so that's why you see like kind of a white in there. And I think I even cleaned a black brush at the end, so it's a little grayish. And then this is where I'll clean, like sharpen my brush. Like, you know, I'll dip into the ink. And usually what my setup is like this. So like I'll have my little cup there. It's full of ink, and I come back and I grab it and I'll like flick lines, you know, on the paper to kind of sharpen my tool. Or even if it's a 102, I might throw a couple of preliminary lines to see how it's reacting. And, you know, last night I was using some splatter, so I was sort of cleaning the brush off, you know, splattering stuff down. And, you know, if your desk is at an angle, you're going to need to tape stuff down. I found that actually just sort of stacking rolls of tape will hold this cup down pretty good, and I've never had an accident. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of an overview of, like, what you could have. And there's even more. I can go into more depth on tools, and yeah, I mean, I have microns and copics and all that stuff, but I mean, this is just for basically penciling and inking. This would be a great setup. I think cost wise, you're looking at probably $200 for all this stuff ish. Figure the Koh-i-Noor pens are about 20 a piece, maybe a little less, so you probably spend like 60 on those. Toothbrushes we'll say are free. The tape is probably $5. Ink, 3 a bottle. The drafting pencil, you know, probably like 10. The leads probably like $8 a pack. The electric eraser, I would guess, is probably about $20. The brush could be expensive. I mean, you're looking at maybe 20 to 25. The Kuretake brush pen, probably 20 to 25. Hunt 102s, a dozen of them, I think, is $20. Then, you know, ruler, a few bucks. So, yeah, and again, for me, what I use is I'll use the ruler, that electric eraser. At the end, I might use this guy, and this pencil, and then these 2 pens, and that's it. You know, I don't really need a ton of stuff to draw in ink, you know, but so that's my basic. And like if I'm inking like someone else, you know, I use the Hunt 102 and a brush, and that's it. I'll erase it with an eraser. So, you know, don't overwhelm yourself with supplies you're not going to use. I've been doing this a while, so, you know, obviously you end up with things around that you might not actually incorporate as much, but hopefully that's informative. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for tuning in, and next week I will have an art video.